Two fires have broken out in the Johannesburg inner city in the space of just 5 days. The South African Revenue Service's Marshalltown building caught alight on Wednesday, while 2 rooms in an apartment building in Hillbrow also caught fire yesterday. It comes after nearly 8 people died last month when the blaze ripped through a 5-story hijacked building in the CBD. We're joined now by the South African National Civic Organization's Gauteng Secretary, Mpho Sesedinyane. Mpho, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. You know, it's certainly, of course, when you look at what happened earlier on this month with those 80 people that died, and we see the continuation of these fires, we have to ask, well, is this an indication of the ticking time bomb that the CBD has literally been sitting on for years now?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy. And let me take this opportunity to greet your viewers out there. It is so disappointing and extremely concerning that we find ourselves in this situation in the city of Johannesburg, a city that has actually has created hopes that they would continue to change the living conditions of our people and continue to make their lives better. But instead, we are seriously confronted with the situation we're in. The state of the city is deteriorating, and the economic hub of South Africa and that of Africa is collapsing by the day under the current leadership and administration that seems to be caught from all the time without being anticipating the current situation. And I can assure you, this actually boils down to that ticking bomb of infrastructure and the challenge that are facing the city of Johannesburg, which requires the leadership to actually stand up and ultimately provide this leadership. And it's disheartening and very disappointing, to say the least.
Mpho, do you think that all of this is coincidental, just given the rate at which we're also seeing these fires in the CBD over the last 3 weeks in particular?
There is no way that would say it's coincidence. The coincidence remains a 1 or 2 incidents that will happen. But if the continuation of this type of situation that happens and even hit, that there might be something that is efficient, something that we should actually start checking. And it also boils down to even the type of intelligence we may have also in this particular country. And it remains a serious concern to say the situation we find ourselves in will just be subjected to just a mere incident. It can be. It's not innocent. It can be a coincidence, but it's a lack of an oversight. It's a lack of leadership. It's a lack of actually preparedness towards dealing with the current situation that is confronting our people in Greater Johannesburg.
How would you advise the city to deal with these incidents? How would you advise them to respond to this matter? The only one thing that needs to happen is extremely one of an audit in terms of the infrastructure that is happening, audit in terms of the building that are currently in use, audit in terms of the building that are in the hands of the city of Johannesburg, including that of a provincial government, and who are those people that are there, and what implications will be able to make if they are not attended to, and how many are also in charge of this particular building that are still there. And once there could be a comprehensive report that talks to that particular audit and ultimately understand what type of infrastructure that we are facing, what kind of conditions that you find all these buildings into, and all of that, it will ultimately be in a position, because this thing of people living in buildings and there is no monitoring and checking in terms of the properties that are there, whether they actually are in the conditions, good conditions that are there, including
the type of infrastructure that we continue to use in the city of Johannesburg. And with the lack of that continuation of monitoring and all of that, this type of situation are likely to happen. So the advice will always be everybody that is employed, that is expected to do his work, must wake up and stop sleeping and wake up and do the work, which is definitely to do that type of an audit.
Of course, we are in an election cycle, Mpho, and as we get closer and closer to the 2024 elections, it's not lost on some that there could well be people who see this as an opportunity, of course, to highlight these failures and be deliberate and intentional in creating more chaos. Do you believe that we are there yet?
If we're not yet here, we're heading towards that particular direction. We're heading towards that particular direction, and it has to be a very serious, alarming situation that requires that all of us should actually look into. It can be that the city is collapsing in the state in which it does, and there's somehow our leadership that are responsible and in charge of the city are always caught pens down, and this remains a serious concern and a biggest concern. And I can tell you, it could be some in terms of the political opportunity to actually wage a political milestone out of this situation, and others could also be attributed to an intention type of a situation so that to create this particular crisis and all of that. And we don't want to arrive to those particular assumptions. But the reality of the matter is it remains a serious concern, considering the fact that there are elections that are alarming, that should be able to be there, and it could be utilized for that particular purpose of electioneering, if not to continue to loot in terms of approaching these particular elections, because crisis is always happening, and it seems as if there is no plan to actually manage and deal with this particular situation. So it remains a great concern to us as a civic organization.
All right, Gauteng Secretary Mpho Sesedinyane of SANCO will leave it there tonight. Thanks for your time.